Hi everyone, my name is Larissa. Sorry I don't have the most space. So I'm going to do yoga for depression today. So we just have a series of poses that can kind of help get you maybe a little bit more energized or just give you a little bit of power to kind of move, because we know that depression makes us feel so stuck and stagnant and not have energy, right? But when we don't move, or we just kind of stay in bed all day, that can end up making depression worse. So this is just a little challenge for you that maybe you could try to see if it helps. All right, so we're gonna start in mountain pose, which is basically just standing tall, taking a moment to feel into our feet in the ground. So maybe lifting up your toes, lifting up your heels, experimenting, exploring a little bit, and seeing what it feels like for your body to feel grounded and connected to the earth. Another thing I always like to point out is that even though we're just standing, it's a very powerful pose, because a lot of times we're kind of holding our arms strong, right? They could just be like limp at our sides, and we could just be like this, and that's just regular standing. Or we can kind of squeeze, tense our muscles a little bit and hold our arms out strong. And so even just standing can be a huge pose that can bring about some change in your mood. So we're gonna take a moment to pause here, just noticing our breath, noticing our body, just being curious. I forget the name of this, so I'm going to look at it. It's called Purna Harjaya Mudra. So mudras are different things that we can do with our hands that can kind of create different senses of feelings. So this particular mudra is for cultivating an open heart and honoring one's thoughts and feelings. It allows acceptance for the emotional body, brings ease to the heart space and the chest. So basically what we're going to do for this is that we're going to make our hands look like a heart. So you're going to kind of drop your thumbs down and curl your other four fingers into kind of like the point of a heart, okay? So if you want to give this a try, you're welcome to. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you for whatever reason, you don't have to. You could also play around with where you want to hold this. So I feel good holding it like over my heart space. You could play around, is it more comfortable down by your belly? Do you want to put it up over your head? Whatever feels right for you. Just taking a moment to focus on that peace, self-love, sending yourself some positivity. When you're ready, you can let go. And then we're going to do something called breath of joy, which is a really fun breath that can be very energizing. So it has three parts. So we're going to inhale, arms to the side. Nope, sorry. We're going to inhale, arms up. Inhale, arms to the side. Inhale, arms all the way up. And then when we get to the top, we go whoosh, and we'll breathe out all together. So it's 3 breaths in. It's 1, 2, 3, out. Okay, so we'll do that a couple of times together. And you might find yourself smiling while you're doing it too. If you don't, that's okay too, but maybe it might bring a little bit of lightness. So pay attention to what it feels like in your body as you're doing this. Do you feel lightness? Do you feel energized? Do you feel contentment? Or do you feel nothing? That's okay too. All right, so when we're ready, we'll go in, in, in. Come back to center, pause for a minute, and then we'll do it again. In, in. Pause again. Do another one. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm smiling. Do another one. Do one more just because I love this so much. take a moment to notice anything that might be different from before those 4 or 5 breaths that we took together. Do you feel anything change in your body, physically or emotionally? And remembering that there's no contest here, so if it didn't, that's okay too. But it's just taking a moment to really feel into those sensations and seeing if we notice anything change in our body. All right, for the next one, I think you might be able to see me, so I think I should be okay. We're gonna get down to our knees and we're gonna go into a tabletop position. We're gonna do cat dog pose, or you might have heard of it as like cat and cow pose. So we're gonna move into table, which looks like this. One of your poses will be with your back arched up. The other one will be dropping your back and lifting your head. So we'll go like this and like this. And you kind of flow through it using your own breath. So using your own breath as a guide. You can pause for a moment. If any time it feels uncomfortable or you're just not in tune with what you're feeling for yourself, you can always pause and go into something that's more comfortable, or just take a seat and relax for a few moments. We're going to do cat and dog again, but we're going to use the mantra Hreem. So we're going to breathe in and then we're going to exhale into Hreem. So you will find yourself breathing in here and then Hreeming here. So we're going to do that together. We'll probably do it 3 times. So we'll breathe in and kind of go into that first pose, and then we'll arch our back and go into the Hreem one. So when you're ready, if you want to join me, you're welcome to. Releasing when you're ready, and just checking in with yourself and noticing, did it feel different when you did the cat and dog without the Hreem versus with it? Just reflecting on that for a moment. Next, we're going to move into Sphinx pose or Cobra pose, whichever one is easier for your back. So I personally prefer Sphinx because it's a little bit of less of a stretch in your back. Some people are more comfortable with Cobra. You're going to lay flat on your belly, on your mat or on the ground. You'll have your legs extended out behind you. I don't have a lot of space. I don't think that I can all the way fit here, so you might see my legs going some weird directions, just so I can kind of demonstrate what the pose looks like for you. A Sphinx though, kind of like think of the Egyptian Sphinx. You'll kind of have an idea of what that looks like, and then Cobra is just where your arms are a little bit more extended up. So Sphinx is more like this, Cobra is more like this. So when you're ready, you can join me on your bellies. You can lay your head on the mat, taking a moment to feel your breath here, and how maybe it feels different when we're laying on our bellies and feeling how our breath expands in our body and moves our body, almost like rocks it. And when you're ready, you'll lift up to Sphinx pose. So that can be like this, or if you wanted to try Cobra, you would lift more like that. That's not comfortable for me, so I'm not going to do that one, but that is an option for you as well. Staying here for as long as you need to, or as little as you need to, and coming out when you're ready. When you're ready, you can join me back on your knees. in hero pose. So you can be up high on your knees or sitting down on your knees, whichever is more comfortable. We're going to pause here for a moment to do a 3-part breath. So I'm just going to kind of read this off a little bit to you. So with our 3-part breath, we're going to inhale through our nose and allow the breath to fill your belly. You're going to inhale through your nose and allow the breath to fill into your ribs. You're going to inhale again, and you're going to bring it into your chest, your heart space. And then you're going to pause and exhale by reversing the process. The breath is going to leave from your chest, your ribs, and then from your belly. I find it helpful to place my hands on my belly and my chest, just so I can really feel my body as it's moving. I'm gonna move up a little bit so you can see me a little better, but whichever way is comfortable for you. So when you're ready, you can join me in taking this breath. If it doesn't feel right for you, that's okay too. Just pause whenever you need to. So we're gonna breathe in and direct that breath to our belly, and you should feel your belly expand out. Breathe in again, and you'll feel it in your ribs. And breathe in again, and you'll feel it in your chest. And then let it out. And you should feel, and maybe even see, the body moving as that happens. So let's do it again. We'll breathe into our bellies, into our ribs, into our chest, and out. I'm going to invite you to take a few of those breaths at your own pace, keeping in mind that that is a pretty big inhale. And so if that feels uncomfortable for you, you can lessen it, smooth it out, shorten it, whatever you need to do to feel comfortable. When you're ready, I'll invite you to continue on your knees, but kind of join me. We're going to do camel pose. So this one's all about opening the heart, right? And when we think of depression, we think of being closed off and being kind of hunched over. So with Sphinx pose and Cobra pose, camel pose, like we're opening our heart, we're opening our body to contentment, to looseness, to lightness, however we want to describe it. So you'll join me here when you're ready. We'll lift our arms up when we're ready, and breathe in, and on your exhale, just drop one of your arms. It might go to your heel. Yep, I think I can just reach my heel. It might hang out up here, whatever feels comfortable for you. Being mindful of your back. Not everybody's back can do this, or it might not be comfortable. And the key, right, is just opening this heart space area. When you're ready, coming back up, taking a second to wiggle it out, putting our arms back up, dropping our other arm, remembering that each side of our body is different. So this side I definitely can't reach my heel, and that's okay. My body is different on each side, and I'm okay with that. Breathe here. And when it feels right, bring your arms back up and then drop them. And now we'll rest in child's pose for a moment. Hopefully you'll be able to see me. I think you might be able to see better maybe this way. So child's pose, we have a couple of different options. We can kind of sit all the way down like this and extend our arms out as far as we can and get our forehead to touch the mat. If that feels like a little bit too much, you can put like a bolster or a blanket or a pillow or something here, so you have a little bit of a rest for your head. Another option is that you kind of widen your knees a little bit so it feels like there's a little bit more room for your midsection. Straighten your arms out. And one other option that I could have pointed out first but forgot was, if that's a little bit much on your shoulders for a stretch, you can rest down the first way and let your arms straight behind you. So figuring out whatever variation of child's pose feels most comfortable for you, and then going into that pose. We'll take a moment to pause here, do a little scan of our body, noticing our breath, noticing our physical body, just being curious about whatever it is we feel. Have there been any shifts since we started, good or bad? Just taking a moment to really be mindful and breathe that all in. When you're ready, you can join me back in a seated position or sitting on your knees, whatever is comfortable. For our resting pose, you can rest in Shavasana, which is just lying flat on your back, or you can rest in a restorative pose, which is called Mountain Brook, and this kind of goes back to that theme of the heart opening. So what you'll do is you'll put a bolster, if you have one, or just a pillow. This will go under your knees or under your legs, however that feels comfortable. And then you're going to kind of roll up, bunch up a blanket, figuring out how it feels comfortable for you, and you lay back with that blanket kind of under your chest area so that it lets you expand and really open that heart center like we've been talking about. You'll drape your arms, I know you can't really see me, you'll drape your arms out to either side. So you're kind of laying back like this, and your chest might be up a little bit in the air just to kind of prop you up. So taking a few moments to get comfortable and settled. And then I'm going to read you the meditation for today, which is called Deep Love. So during this practice, you're going to connect with your deep capacity to love yourself. You may not feel like loving yourself right now, and this is a practice and an invitation to begin to allow self-love to find a place in your heart. This is a practice that invites you to fall in love with yourself. We will start with a breathing practice to quiet your mind. When you're settled in your pose, just feel your body loosen and sink down into the mat. Close your eyes or look at the ground in front of you and begin to breathe into your body. Start by taking deep breaths in and out. Begin to feel the shape change in your body as you breathe. Notice the physical sensations and the emotions. Now bring your awareness to your heart, the space where your heart lives. Breathe into the heart for a few cycles of breath. As you breathe, ask yourself what story or narrative is blocking you from loving yourself. Often, narratives come from culture, family, or something outside of us. For example, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, or I don't belong. Once you've identified the story or narrative that is blocking you from loving yourself, invite it to be released, even if it's just for one cycle of breath. Invite it to release from your heart and your spirit. You can invite it to be released by breathing it out of your body with your exhales and making space for something new to enter as you inhale. Work this way for several cycles of breath, emphasizing your exhales and the release. Now, come back to your heart, the space where your heart lives. Notice how your heart feels. Notice what is present. And, if possible, create a mantra about self-love. This can be something that you already believe or something you want to believe. For example, I am enough. I am lovable. I belong here. I have a place here. Whichever mantra you choose, repeat it to yourself 3 times. Once you feel ready to move out of the meditation, with each breath cycle, bring your awareness back to the physical sensations and emotions around you. Return to the space by opening your eyes. Thank you all for practicing with me.